Hola, mi nombre es Karla Martinez. I was born in Mexico City and I lived there until I was about 8 years old. Spanish is my native language. Things that are very important to me are my family, friends, and dog. And I am currently here at the University of Houston trying to accomplish one of my biggest dreams. Ever since I was little, I've known that teaching is my calling. Not so specifically for math, but as I grew up, I realized that math was the subject that I wanted to teach. And although my certification covers 4th grade through 8th grade math, I really want to teach middle school, which would cover 6th grade through 8th grade math. So, like I mentioned it before, I lived in Mexico until I was about 8 years old. So, the only language I spoke then was Spanish. But through school, we were introduced through basic English words just like pencil, um, pen, chicken, and the colors. But when we moved to the United States, I realized that there was so many more words that I needed to learn. Luckily, we came during the summer, and one of my aunts had lived here basically her entire life, and she was teaching us English during the summer, trying to prepare us for when school started. When they went to sign me up for school, we thought that I was gonna be going into 5th grade because if I had stayed in Mexico, that's the grade I would have started. But the district decided to hold me back and put me in 3rd grade because my English was not as proficient as 5th graders in the United States. As a little girl, I wasn't really understanding what was going on or why I needed to be held back. Because I consider myself smart, but that really motivated me to want to keep learning English because I did not want to stay in 3rd grade forever. When the summer came back around this time, I was ready to learn English. I was practicing, I was writing, anything that you wanted me to do, I was doing it just to learn English. And it paid off because in 4th grade I was placed in a bilingual class. It wasn't much, but it was better than just being in 3rd grade again. I was practicing more English, writing more English, and for 5th grade, I was placed in an all English class, which really helped me academically, and it opened doors for going to middle school. In middle school, I was placed in all pre-AP classes, math pre-AP, science pre-AP, English pre-AP, and looking back at it, it's crazy because I remember taking those classes, but also having to be pulled out of class to take my TELPAS test. And for those that do not know what TELPAS is, it's just an assessment created by the state to assess English language learners. They just want to check your listening, your writing, and your reading skills. They want to see if you've improved your English from the previous year. I think 6th grade was the last year I took my TELPAS test. And from there on, it was just, regular state test. And although I lived in the United States for more than half of my life, I still do not consider myself an expert in the language, or I don't think I ever will. But I do know that being an English language learner has helped me become who I am today. I do remember when I was younger, kids would make fun of me because I would not understand certain words, or they would make fun of my accent, and I would be ashamed of that because it would set me apart. But as I got older, I began to embrace my accent. I love my roots, and I actually try to pass that on to my younger cousins who speak English probably better than what I do. But I do try to have a lot of conversations with them in Spanish just because I do love my first language. In school it's English, work is mix of both, mostly English, just because the area where I work. With my friends it's a mixture of also both, but I think we do enjoy speaking Spanish more because there's a lot of jokes or songs that cannot be translated to English. I mean, they can, but they're not as funny or they're not as meaningful in English as they are to us in Spanish. As a future teacher and someone who wants to teach in a community where students' first language is Spanish, I want to be a bridge between parents and the school system. Many times, communities like these lack the parent involvement because there's a language barrier. And I want to help parents know that, there's people in the school that speak Spanish that can help them navigate through the school system, that can help them get involved in their students' education. Because once we have the parents' involvement and the teacher together as a team, we can set the student for a stronger future. And yeah, so thank you for watching this video.